bulky. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have a better intro than that. Welcome to episode day 28 of Junktober. I feel like I have a weird flavor of synesthesia that is like, I associate numbers with just like vibes. It's not like a color thing. It's just like something about the number 28 is very spooky and Halloween-y to me. What am I talking about here? I'm feeling the Halloween spirit. I'm feeling the Junktober spirit. Day 28, bulky. Okay, I am going to add even more bushes to this diorama. And I know what you're thinking, Betsy, you added the coconut fiber. You added more flocking over that. You made bushes. How much more green stuff can this thing take? I've talked over and over again, particularly in the swampy episode, about how I probably took this further than I would have had I not been sticking to this schedule and this prompt list. But it has worked out really well, and I think I've gotten to the point where like I've added so much that it's tipping the scale back. And it's like, yes, generally less is more, and it's always good to edit yourself and all that. But like, I do genuinely feel like I'm tipping the scale back in the direction of I'm loving this, and why not add a little bit more? So I'm going to add a little bit more greenery to really bulk out the board. Yes, I've tied it perfectly to the prompt. No notes. I did it perfectly. I don't know what you're talking about. In all seriousness, this one genuinely feels like it makes sense for the prompt. I want to bulk this out to the gills. Let's do it. It has actually been like 6 or 7 days since I have filmed anything for this diorama. I don't think I've hidden the fact that I am not filming this in real time. I mean, it's close to real time. I've been a few days ahead. I did get significantly ahead in the middle there, and I took a few days off, but I'm so excited to get back into this to finish out this series. But this is the first episode since day 8 or 9, which would be October 8th or October 9th, around there, maybe even a little bit before, where things started to get out of order for me because I had to wrestle like paint drying and material availability. I just had to balance all that very delicately in order to get this done in time. One episode I even had to like blur half the diorama. But this is the first episode since like the first week where I have caught up to my list. So that's exciting. It's exciting to me. I don't have to hide this anymore because it's really hard to work on it when I can't show it to you. So what am I thinking for bulky? I do actually think there are a couple more spots where I could add some greenery. Let's just see. Quick impromptu list of things I want to cover with more greenery. Well, first of all, the cemetery sign. I think it looks absolutely completely rad, but I do think it would look cool with like a vine kind of thing hanging here. Hate the way that the glue did this weird reaction on the lanterns, so I'm definitely going to be putting some sort of moss or viney type of thing there. Maybe I'll add some moss or some vines to the top of the mausoleum. And finally, I'm also just going to put some flowers in, some tufts. I do have a few that I'll bust out from my stash, but I also just replenished my stash and bought a few new tufts from Army Painter, specifically ones that I thought would work well in this diorama. These kind of dead ones, I think I'll definitely leverage. I also love these lowland shrubs. They're really cool. They're like green, but they have like a fuzzy kind of flocky top to them. Yeah, I'm excited to pop these in. So if you thought that this had enough greenery, well, you thought wrong, because I like adding more greenery and I don't know when to stop, and I'm gonna keep adding greenery until this thing is overflowing with greenery because I genuinely just don't know where to stop. It's gonna be fun. Okay. I saved just enough of this flock, and I like it because it has a few different colors in there. It kind of looks like a fall type of color. I'm gonna take that flock. I have the tiniest little bowl you will have ever seen. I have done this method in several of my past videos, but it yields truly, truly fantastic results, so I love doing it. By the way, using the smallest little bowl that you can find is not necessary and is completely optional. A little bit of water. And then I'm just gonna mix that up with a coffee stirrer. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty wet. You're just kind of looking for a paste. I think I added a little too much water. And you just slap it on everything. The glue completely dries and is not white, and you're left with like moss. I mean, you'll see the final results. I just love techniques that are so simple, but work so spectacularly well. Kind of just gonna wedge it in to a few spots. I might even kind of use the areas where I put the green wash in the incantation episode as kind of a guide, because like here there's all this green wash right here, and that's probably where moss was anyway, so this is just adding a little bit extra moss. Trying to just apply it anywhere where moss would naturally be kind of piled up. So like at the tops of buildings, in little crevices as well. Doesn't look like much now, but this always dries so well. Gonna now try to get a little bit on these lanterns, and I will also be sure to hit the ones on the ground so that they are a little less shiny and a little bit more kind of like they've been sitting there a while. You can also use this to cover up mistakes. So like this lantern over here that you can't see because I forgot to change the camera angle of my top down. It had a bunch of paint on the wrong spot. So this is a great technique for covering mistakes. I glued in a few bottles, but I didn't realize, I guess the angle in which I glued it, I didn't realize that the little bead end would be exposed. So now it just looks like a hole. So while this is truly one of the smallest details ever, and no one would probably notice this step as a whole of adding the moss is for things like this. Also adding a little bit to the cemetery sign, and I'm gonna add a vine to that as well in a moment. Here's a quick shot of what the cemetery sign looks like. Again, this is gonna look a lot better when it's dried. So it'll look less white, first of all, and also just like, it'll get a little darker, I believe. Now I'm going to bust out some lichen that I have. So if you remember, I tried this in the tree flocking episode, or it was a brown version of this, but it was this material. It's in these like little strips. So I'm not using that, but I have a different type of lichen that I really like for this. Not bad. But let me pull that out. It's like these kind of bigger clumps as opposed to like thin little strands. And I've been making my way through this package here. I like to just rip little chunks. Okay, that's a bad example, but if you just rip like a chunk off, it usually like stays together. And choose a spot to glue it on. I'm gonna take Eileen's quick dry glue again. Maybe get a little bit on the thing that you're gluing if it has like edges that are gonna like hang down, like I'm picturing this. And then you just hold it for a moment. I mean, it completely obscures the word, but you know what it says. I did realize when editing that I spelled this word wrong. The episode where I made the sign hasn't actually gone live yet, so that gives you a little hint of how far ahead I am. But I'm sure someone's going to point it out, and honestly, I don't blame you, because it's very embarrassing. This is supposed to be an E, but let the record show that I caught it. You didn't catch it, I caught it. You might have caught it, but I caught it first. Anyway, I probably should have put the moss over the A, because that's the letter that's wrong, but who cares? Maybe these old people who made the cemetery were they just didn't have a dictionary. think with that, I'm gonna move on to flowers. Next episode, Itsy Bitsy, I'm going to be trying a totally new technique to me. It might ruin the entire diorama, and no, I'm not being hyperbolic. Okay, maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic. I don't think I could do anything that would fully ruin it. But I am very nervous about trying this technique, but I'm excited for it. Make sure you stick around to watch the montage of me gluing in the tufts of grass and flowers. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification thing if you want to be notified when I post a new video. See you tomorrow.